Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to a brand new episode of Extraordinary Talks. My name is Luis Portelles, and for today's episode, I am beyond excited because I have really an amazing guest that will be sharing a moment here with us today. Of course, for those of you who have been waiting for this interview for quite some time, you know that I'm talking about Ndavi Nokeri, who is our current Miss South Africa 2022. And during this interview, we're going to be talking about everything from her Miss South Africa experience, her preparation, as well as the upcoming pageants that she will have. It's going to be a busy season for Ndavi because she will be the candidate representing South Africa at Miss Universe, Miss World, and Miss Supranational. Of course, unless she wins one of those titles along the way. So, although she was just crowned only a few weeks ago, she is already one of the most talked about candidates in this year's international pageant season, let's call it that way. So I hope that you guys enjoy this interview, that you find some sort of value in it, and most importantly, that you get to know Ndavi. Please, the only thing that I'm going to ask from you is that if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to support her on her journey, and feel free to ask any questions that you might have in the chat section. I won't keep you waiting much longer. I will see you with Ndavi right after the intro, guys. Perfect. So everyone, please give a warm round of applause for Ndavi Nokeri.
Hi, Louis.
How are you doing, my dear?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Doing amazing. So happy to have you here. I've been looking forward to this for the longest time, so I'm very happy.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this the entire day. So, yeah, I'm so excited.
Thank you so much. So before we start, I just want to give a quick shout out to everyone who is joining us to watch us live. Thank you guys for your time and for being here with us today. Uh, so, David, before we get started with the interview, I always like to ask the candidates, how are you feeling now that you are officially Miss South Africa 2022? Can you believe it?
I literally can't believe it. It's so crazy because it's something that I've worked for so long, for so many years. I always told myself I want to be Miss South Africa. And I had this entire plan of what I was going to do, what I think a Miss South Africa should be. So to just think that everything that I thought I could become actually came to fruition it's so mind-boggling, so insane. And actually for the first week, I'd always have to sleep with the crown next to my bed so that when I wake up, it's the first thing I see and I remember I miss South Africa. It actually happened and it's not just a dream.
Absolutely. I believe that, it must be such like a full circle moment because what people don't realize sometimes is all of the preparation that goes into participating in a pageant, but also being within the system of Miss South Africa, which is one of the most, recognized pageants from
Yeah.
all of the world, right? So
Yeah, it's a very long process to get to where we are today. And so I can't believe it's been, because we started off in April and now it's September. I've been in the system, like you're saying, for so many months. It's literally full circle.
absolutely. So for those of us, for those who are joining us right now live and who would like to know a little bit more about you, let's say if there's people out there who are not just as familiar with you, would you be
Yeah.
able to give us a little bit of your background? Who are you? What do you do? And what is your hope to do with this platform?
Mm. Okay, so my name is Ndavi Nokeri. I am 23 years old and I come from the Gabaza village, which is a small village in South Africa, in Tanin, in a small province called Limpopo. So I grew up there and I have a BCom investment management degree from the University of Pretoria. So I've worked in both angel investing and asset management, as well as in entrepreneurship. So there's quite a bit that I've gotten myself involved in. Growing up, I enjoyed playing sports. I actually thought I was going to become a professional netball player. That's how much I played. I played even in university. And so that was a great passion of mine, still is. So I still enjoy watching that. And yeah, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. So I like to do adventurous things, especially with my friends and my family. And I always host games nights because that competitiveness just has to come out somewhere.
I love that. You are phenomenal in every single way. She's educated, she's physically active, she is, all over the place. We love it.
Thank you.
May I ask you, Navi, where did the interest for pageantry come from?
Mm. So strange. I did my first pageant when I was 5, but then I didn't even have an interest in it. It was just one of those things where, all the little misses come together and they just basically trying to build our confidence. But I think the first time that I was really interested in pageantry was in 2019, no, 2018. And I just saw a bunch of girls watching something together. I was like, okay, let me join. What are they watching? And they were actually watching Miss South Africa. And that was the first time that I actually saw Miss South Africa. And then in 2019, I decided, let me try out the pageant. Let's start small because, Miss South Africa is huge. So I thought, let me
Yeah,
start small. So I did a local pageant called Miss Josie. And that's where I saw that you can actually do so much for your community and you can do so much for yourself as a woman. Being able to stand on a stage takes so much confidence. And so, yeah, that's where I really felt this passion to just continue on the pageantry journey.
absolutely.
Mm.
May I ask you, so after going through this experience, right, joining Miss South Africa, going through every single one of the different categories, and ultimately winning the title, how has your perception of pageantry changed, if it has changed at all?
Mm. So I think I didn't have too much of a misconception about pageantry. What I did think though was that you had to be a specific kind of person or you have to have this kind of personality. And I
Mhm.
always thought I actually didn't have that personality because I consider myself someone who's most on the soft spoken side. I'm not always the loudest person in the room. And that's what I always thought you need to be. But coming into Miss South Africa, I've just always been myself and they've left room for that. So what I really love about the platform is they allow you to become more you. They just amplify who you are. They don't try to change you. And I think that is so empowering instead of them trying to mold you into something you're not. Because then that enables you to show up in every room authentically, confidently. And so that's what I really love about this platform.
Absolutely. And may I
Mm.
say, after watching the entire Miss South Africa pageant, I mean, from the beginning, I was like looking after the candidates and, trying to absorb as much information as possible. I do have this impression that Miss South Africa is one of the pageants that really goes above and beyond to really showcase the girls, different
Yeah.
aspects about their personality.
Yeah.
It's really about empowering women. I feel like that's the entire purpose of it. Um, and they're doing such an excellent job at it. So congratulations to
Absolutely.
the entire team.
Absolutely. I always also give a shout out to the whole team because they really do focus on women empowerment. They don't only speak about it, and the team is mostly ran by women. So they really do understand where and what we face as women, so they can really then ensure that they give us a space to also become better.
Yes, of course. May I ask you, so something that people don't realize, about pageantry sometimes is that once you compete, you work really, really hard, and eventually you win a title. Also comes a lot of responsibility with that, a lot of things that you need to do. It's a job. You need to work
Yeah.
with the organization. So
Yeah.
how has your lives changed since you were crowned Miss South Africa 2022?
Sure, my life literally, my entire life has changed. Like everything about it has changed. Firstly, we can even look at the prizes. I had to move because as a Miss South Africa, you get a whole apartment in Joburg. So I had to move from home and now I'm staying in Johannesburg. So that's a whole new adjustment as well, just staying here. And then my schedule, like you're saying, you're very, very busy with interviews. But I also think it's a great platform. As I speak to people, you get to reach a lot more people. So it gives you an opportunity to really lead, to educate, and to get to know different people. I think that's so beautiful. Today, I get to speak to you like in 2 different countries. So these are the kind of things that I cherish and value as well about the job.
Of course, it's a hectic
Yeah.
schedule, but it's an honor, I'm pretty sure, to hold that title.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's such an honor to represent so many people.
Of course. Um, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about with you is, during the Miss South Africa competition, you were considered to be a fan favorite since the beginning of the competition. So many
Yeah.
people talking about you, sharing your photos, your videos, everything. How did that make you feel to have so much support, to
Mm.
notice that so many people saw that potential in you?
Yeah. So a lot of people actually would ask me if that puts pressure on me. because you can imagine you have like people have this huge expectation from you. And from my side, it actually didn't put a lot of pressure on me. It actually helped me throughout the whole process, just knowing
Mhm.
how many people believe in me. So in the days where I was like, okay, this is so hard, you have those days where you really doubt yourself because you see all the other women, you're like, oh my goodness, they are so incredible. And so when I would have those days of doubt and feeling insecure, then I would remember all the people that are supporting me. And because I think their support also comes from a place of feeling represented. And so that would remind me that I do not stand here as just one person. I'm representing so many people who've maybe felt like because of where they come from, they can't enter a competition like Miss South Africa, or because they felt like they don't have the confidence. So that really encouraged me to keep going. And I was always just myself. So I can't really do anything about that. So the fact that they supported me as who I am was really so encouraging to just continue to be myself.
Of course. And you actually made a very, very good point, and it's the fact that sometimes, having a lot of support, that's incredible, but it also adds a lot of pressure because, there's
Yeah.
expectation and people want you to do well. So how did you
Yeah.
manage all of that expectation during the,
Mm.
the time while you were competing?
Mm. Yeah, so for me, it was really about remembering why I was doing it.
Yeah.
Because, there's people can come with their own voices, people can tell you why you should be doing something. But if you remember why you're doing it, then there's nothing that can really pull you aside. And also, like I mentioned, that really just being myself, I think I would feel pressure if I was putting up a front and then having to try keep up with it to impress the crowd. But the fact that when I went in, I said, I can only be me, then it really eased the pressure to not try to impress anybody because, first of all, you can't impress everybody. So the best thing that you can do is to just be yourself, and whoever falls, and I mean, whoever falls in love with you will continue to support you, and whoever doesn't, we can't be everybody's cup of tea.
Absolutely. Um, I feel like one of the highlights as well of your coronation of your reign now in 2022 is that you are officially the successor of Lalela Mswane, who had such an incredible run during her year. So, have you
Yeah.
received any sort of advice from Lalela or any previous Miss South Africa winners?
Yeah, so shame. All the former Miss South Africans are actually so supportive. Everybody's reached out. I remember the night I was crowned, everybody sent me a message. I was like, oh my goodness, my different role models are sending me messages because I've looked up to these women for all these years. And everybody's just opened their door for me saying, if I need any advice, they're here. Let's go grab a coffee. And yeah, everybody's just been so supportive because they've walked the journey. So they know the
Mhm.
pressures, they know the stresses, and everybody just keeps reminding me to always also just look after myself. I've spoken to Lalela, I've spoken to Shudu, Rolene, a couple of them, and I think one thing that they emphasize is just to ensure that I always just go back to myself, center myself, because that's how you're able to pour out by first filling in your own cup.
Absolutely. Yes, I feel like that's the
Mm,
best advice that they can possibly give you. Just take care of
yeah,
yourself, be mindful of your personal needs so that you
yeah,
can deliver your 100% for the job as well. Um,
exactly,
and like you said, I feel like no one is really going to understand what you're going through as someone who already went through the experience, right?
exactly, yeah.
Um, you recently had your homecoming. Tell me about it.
That was amazing. Oh my gosh. Homecoming was absolutely everything. It was fun. It was emotional. It was exciting. It was like I felt all the emotions that I've ever felt in my whole life in just a weekend. So it was incredible. We were welcomed home by esteemed leaders. Just seeing the celebration in the whole province was
Mhm,
so beautiful. And I think it really highlighted that everything I wanted to achieve had been achieved, or most of it, I think, in the sense of inspiring hope again in my province, because Limpopo is quite rural, and many of the times we really do disqualify ourselves from dreaming big. And so I think just them seeing someone who comes from there achieve something like this, really, a lot of people were so emotional. Everybody was, just showing gratitude towards me, but I was even more grateful towards them because it's their support that got me here. So it was
mhm.
so humbling. And yeah, I could redo homecoming each and every weekend if I could.
Yes, of course. I can only imagine, especially, so I feel like this is also like a big part of being a beauty queen or being a representative, not only for South Africa, but for any country. And it's,
Yes,
the impact that you can have in a younger
absolutely.
generation that look up to you. They see
Mm-hmm.
themselves reflected in you, right? So they say, well, if she did it, I can do it myself.
Because the same happened for me, when I saw all the other women do what they did, I thought to myself, well, if she can do it, so can I.
Mhm. Exactly.
Mm.
I love that. Ah! Such a beautiful message. So, what would you say? What would be the best advice that you would give to the little girls or even the little boys who would like to replicate, let's say, like your type of success, or who are afraid to follow their dreams? They might be a little insecure. What would you tell
Mm.
them?
Yeah. So firstly, for me, I'd say I've been there. Having a big dream like becoming a Miss South Africa, it is huge, and you can really ask yourself, who do I think I am to actually want to attain this? Do I even have the right resources? Am I educated enough for this? You can ask yourself so many questions, and I think what was very important for me was to take that initial step towards the dream. I think what many of us do is we speak about our dreams. You'll tell your friends, you'll tell your parents, I want to become Miss South Africa, but then you do absolutely nothing about it. And so I think what's really important is to take that initial step, send in that application, apply for that course, whatever it is that you want to do, it will not make itself happen. Nothing works until you do. So ensure that you take that first step. A famous quote that I really like is that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So take that step, and everything else will flow from that.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and one of the things that really stayed with me was about being intentional with the things that
Yes.
you want to achieve in life, right? So when you have a goal, just like write it down, maybe like write down as well, like what are the challenges, what are the things that you already
Yeah.
have that might help you to get there, and just go for it. And the
Yeah, I
universe.
love that intentionality. Intentionality. Nice.
So let me ask you now about what is yet to come when it comes to the international competitions and everything. One of the
Oh,
particularities of being Miss South Africa is that you get to represent the country not only at Miss Universe, but also
mm,
Miss World and Miss Supranational, unless you
yeah,
win one of the titles along the way. So
yeah.
how do you approach this challenge? It must be like a lot to handle.
I'm so excited, I get to try three internationals, but hopefully I won't have to try it three times. Like you say, if you get the first one right, then we don't have to do the others. But I'm so honored, and like it's such a great privilege to get to do all three, or to have the option to do all three at least. And it's so exciting. I think what really helps is having the team. They know what they're doing. They're experts in this field, and they're really just helping me prepare in every single way possible. And obviously, the different pageants have different values, but I think at the end of the day, it's always just looking for a woman who's the most empowered, who's the most confident, and who's the most determined to, implement the things that she wants to see change in society. So I'm very excited. I think preparation for one can truly help me prepare for the other. It is just about tweaking and fleeking the different values of the different organizations and aligning with that. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Well, first of all, I really love as well that the organization, I mean, the Miss South Africa organization really specified during the ceremony, because we remember like last year was a little bit of confusion. Who's going to which pageant? It wasn't clear.
Oh,
But this year,
yes.
like the winner will represent the country at the three international pageants.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that you mentioned slightly something that I wanted to ask you. So, of course,
Mm,
when we think of Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss Supranational, these are all major international pageants, but they're all as
mm,
well very different. So, how do you
yes.
approach the preparation for each one of them?
Mm,
Do you just like prepare overall, or do
mm.
you adapt to each one of the pageants?
So yeah, like you said, I did touch a bit on that because I think at the end of the day, it's really about what you are representing as a woman, and I think what they also have in common is that they all want to give back. So I
Yes,
think just being able to use each of those platforms to still do what I want to do, to still push the social change that I want to see, is so great. But what would be important, obviously, is the different values that they stand for, and to just align with that. You need to know where you're going. You need to know what organization you're speaking to. Just like any job, you need to know who you're representing. So yeah, I think that would be the best way to go about their preparation.
of course. Perfect. Thank you so
Mm.
much for answering that. Before we continue, I just want to send a quick invitation to our audience, our viewers. If they have any questions for Ndavi, please send them in the chat. If you already sent the questions, please just send them again one more time so that it makes it easier. We don't have to be scrolling.
Copy and
But
paste.
Yes, help a brother. I will be picking a quick question for Ndavi, guys. Um, So let's go back to my questions. I think that being a beauty queen, especially being a title holder, doesn't just means that you represent, the beauty of the country, but you're also in a way an ambassador for the country.
Yeah.
So having this platform and having the opportunity to go to three different major pageants, um, what are some of the things that you would like to showcase about South Africa and its people?
Mm. So one thing I'm very proud of about being South African is the diversity of our country. We when you go to Miss Universe, you can't tell which one is South Africa each and every year because the women look so different. And I love that we celebrate the women in their different shapes and sizes, colors, height. So I love that South Africa is so unpredictable in so many ways, specifically with how we look as women. But also, I want to represent the resilience of South African women. I think we always show up as the best authentic selves that we are, and we face so many challenges within the country, and not only as a South African woman, but women all over the world. They're always being left behind, and I think it's so beautiful to see women just show that we are born leaders. We just needed the platform to show that we are leaders, and so that's what I also love about pageantry, that they do that for us as women.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
Mm,
sharing. So I'm going to start here. I have a question from one of our viewers. This is coming from. Okay, we have Matthew asking, how has how has all of the previous Miss South Africa inspired your journey? So you mentioned earlier that you got some advice from them, but how did they have an impact on you on their
mm,
respective years?
yeah. So I think I can truly relate to quite a number of previous Miss South Africas, and I will speak on today. I can speak on all of them, but I think I'll speak on Shudu and Roeline. And for me, it's the two women that really represented the soft power. They showed that to be powerful, you don't have to be very loud. You don't have to be. It's not about how loud you speak, but it's about the words that you speak, the power in the words. So speaking with conviction. And so for me, it was really seeing them own their power so softly and so gracefully that allowed me to also do the same. So they truly inspired me. And also, Judy comes from Limpopo, which is the same province that I come from. So when I was like, oh, Judy Fata could do that, surely I can too. So she really inspired me in that sense.
Amazing. That was direct inspiration right there.
Exactly. I was like, if I needed one more sign, this is it.
That's it. All right. So we have a question here from our friend Sam. Sam is always here sending love to all of
Mm.
the queens. So, what segment of the competition are you most terrified of? And how will you address that fear before the three big pageants?
How would I address that? Sorry.
Yeah. And how will you address that fear before the pageants?
Oh, okay. So I think for me, it's definitely the Q&A
Mhm.
interview round. I don't know, it's so scary, to stand there, that anything could be asked in that moment, and that you really have this one chance to really make an impact. And I think with Miss South Africa, what was important for me was to ensure that, okay, whatever I do say, even if I don't win, I need to ensure that what I say makes an impact, that it leaves someone remembering, thinking about it, either to make a change in their own life or to also just be aware of certain things. So, yeah, I think it's just really about knowing who you are, knowing what you want to say, and knowing what you stand for, because you only have that moment to show people what you stand for.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Mm.
I can only imagine, the nerves that you must be feeling when you're on stage
Yeah.
and you don't know what question is going to be asked. Yet you handled it so well. I mean, your answer during your competition was remarkable, so I'm pretty sure that you'll be fine. But it must be
I hope so. I don't know how you're in that moment. I was so nervous. I don't know how we do it, and I don't know why we do it to ourselves because it's so nerve wracking.
you'll be fine. There was a question that someone asked earlier that I really loved, and it was about your evening gown when it comes to your coronation moment. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration of the gown? Do you remember like who was the designer that made that gown for you?
Yes, so my designer for my evening gown was Ulysses Couture.
Mhm.
It was absolutely stunning. So, with the evening gowns, it kind of has a theme. So, for all of us, I think if you go back, you'll see that it's the minerals of South Africa. So, we had the copper, then we had the more of like on the charcoal side, we had diamonds going on the stage. So, it was an overall theme for the evening. And I was more on the diamond side, as you can see, with the black and the silver at the top. So, yeah, that was the inspiration behind it.
That was amazing. I would ask you,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to fashion, let's say for the competition, do you consider to be more of a traditional queen or more of a risk?
Hmm. I think I'm trying to dabble more on the risky side. I would say because it's a bit fast to say traditional or risky. I feel like there's a lot in between. So I think I'm somewhere in the space in between and still trying to figure out how we can expand on that. Because I wasn't always like very aware of what I wear. I was just like, okay, as long as it looks good, it's fine. But now I'm really actually trying out to see, okay, let's go for different looks. What does your clothes say about you? Because your clothes introduce you before you walk into a room. So I'm becoming more aware and intentional about that.
Absolutely. There
Mm,
are so many things that, besides the fashion, of course, which is super important for a pageant, but there are many other aspects that also need preparation, right? So usually beauty queens, they train when it comes to their makeup skills, when it comes to their Q&A,
mhm,
when it comes to their walk. When it comes for you,
mm.
what is the focus where do you want to focus for the upcoming competitions? In which area?
Um, sure. So I think definitely Q&A. For me, that is make or break. If you can't articulate yourself, then it's really hard to get anything done. And I think also for your year of rain, you need to be able to speak to people and communicate clearly to them. So if you can master that, I think whether you win or not, that is a great skill to have it for life in general, to be able to communicate clearly so that you can get things going and get things done and get people moving as well.
Absolutely. I think
Mm,
it's, as you mentioned, it's so important. And I feel like, especially nowadays in 2022 and in the upcoming years as well, the job of a beauty queen is going to be heavily influenced by communication. They need to be able to reach out to people, to connect with them, to inspire them, to just, create that bond with the audience. So that's
yeah,
a
for
major.
me, thank you. Communication is so important for me as well. Like, even in my country, I speak four of the official languages, and I've found that it really helps you connect better with people when you're able to speak to someone, even in their own language or however. But communication is so important. Yeah.
Of course. Amazing. Let's talk about some of the challenges when it comes to, um, let's say, your preparation for the international competitions. Sometimes it can be very difficult to manage everything at the same time. Not only your preparation, but also how you handle yourself on stage, social media, and
Yeah.
all of that. How do you plan to find like a balance? Let's call it that.
Yeah. So I've always been someone who likes to be busy. No, not to this level. Like, this is obviously like next level, but I've always put myself in positions where I had to be very busy with different things. Like you're saying earlier on, I was busy with sports, busy with academics as well, educated, and even culture. I used to play the piano, and I think sometimes the more you do is actually the more you can do because you get a momentum going, and as well as just putting different segments in your mind, different activities actually activate different parts of who you are. And so I think I've had the opportunity to try learn how to balance things, but I think prioritizing is going to be very important because obviously you can't do everything, and you also need to take care of yourself mentally. So I think definitely prioritizing, working on things that are urgent sometimes, maybe sometimes letting a few things go, put it in the backseat if it can be left behind for a while. But yeah, definitely prioritization would be very important to balance things properly.
Mm, I agree. I
Mm,
agree.
yeah.
Um, when it comes to, I would say, connecting with other candidates, I also feel like it's very important to, have a bond with the girls, because at that particular point, there's going to be only a few people in the world who understand what you're going through, and that's going to be your sisters who are also competing with you in the pageant.
Yeah.
So, have you had the time to talk to some of the girls, to bond with them?
I actually sadly have not, which is quite sad. But I think also I've got crowned like 3 weeks ago now, so it's been such a busy time. Everything's been a whirlwind, so I haven't had the chance to actually go sit and actually get a chance to actually congratulate the other countries as well and get to know them. And that's definitely something that I want to do, and I look forward to getting to know them because, like you're saying, there's no one else who is on the same journey. But yeah, I think I definitely can't wait to get to know them.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be
Mm.
incredible. I'm sure you'll have a blast.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to know a little bit about your advocacy. So, of course, being part of a pageant is not just about the beauty and about the activities, but it's also about the platform and what you give back to the community. So, what are your hopes for this? Like, what do you plan to do with this platform, and what is your advocacy?
Mm. So when I entered, I was very clear about what I wanted to do with the platform, and I think that's because it was actually one of the main reasons why I even entered. Before I was interested in pageantry and the beauty side of things, I was more interested in making the social change, and but I just fell so in love with the pageantry side of things as well. And I think it's such a beautiful space that brings in beauty of a woman and also the ability to give back. It's so beautiful. So for me, the main focus is really in my country. There's a big educational divide between the quality of education that learners are getting in more advanced areas versus in the rural areas. And I saw that because where I come from, the learners there are not getting a quality education. So for me, the true focus is to ensure that we bridge that gap and give them the necessary resources, the necessary tools, environment that they need to develop holistically. And I think one of the main focuses will also be ensuring that they have access to information. A lot of
Mhm.
learners don't even know the opportunities that exist out there for them because they don't have access to certain information or technology. So I think it's really just about reducing that gap to ensure that as we advance forward as a nation, we're all moving forward and we don't leave people from rural areas behind.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Mm.
I think that's such an important advocacy, and I'm just
Yeah.
hoping that with the platform and with everything,
Mm.
with this new position that you have, that brings so much
Mm.
visibility, you'll be able to take it to the next level. Um,
Yeah.
just
And
want
I,
to
and
double
I
check.
think,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
That's right, and I think it's a global issue as well. I just think that South Africa currently, I actually know that South Africa is the most unequal society globally at the moment, but we all see inequalities in each and every country, and that is something that needs attention.
Mm, absolutely. Yes, that's also a very important part of it. Sometimes I talk to certain beauty queens, and one of the challenges sometimes is that they have like an advocacy that is very, I would say, like local. Whenever they win like
Mhm.
a national title and they have to go internationally, they have to find a way, like an angle to make it
Yeah.
international, just for people from all over the world to be able to relate to it and be able to support as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But I think that what you're doing is so timely, and it's so important that.
Absolutely.
Perfect. I
Mm.
just want to double check because I see some people saying in the comments that they don't see us. They can hear us, but they don't see us. So I'm just
Really,
gonna.
that's so strange.
That's so weird. Okay, I'm just gonna turn off the cameras and turn it on again. Maybe that will fix it. I will just repost it because I can actually see you, and this is being recorded as well, so it's all good. Um, okay. Okay. Now we can see us.
Can they see us now?
Yes, I can see that they can see us now. So it's all good. And it's
Okay.
also, I have the entire thing recorded on my end. So worst case, if they didn't see us for a while, I just repost. Just in case. It's all good.
Awesome.
Um, okay, so one of the things that I always like to ask, the beauty queens when they come here is, you work really hard, you train, you prepare, and you have, of course, the best of hopes for international pageants. But how can the pageant fans, even the vloggers, help you guys, achieve your
Mm.
goals, whether it's with the things that we share or our behaviors online, or how can we
Mm.
support your advocacies? How can we
Yeah.
help overall? That's the question.
Oh, that is so sweet. That is really sweet. And I think what you guys are doing already with the interviews, you're giving us a platform for people to get to know us. So I think that's already so beautiful. I follow a lot of pageant pages, pageant fan pages as well. And, the ones that actually give so much love and support. I think the ones that are comparing us, it can be a bit challenging, obviously, to see those pages. But the ones that really just celebrate each and every woman, I think, are so important to just also helping us to remain, confident and to remain encouraged about the journey that we're on and to just take you guys along with us because you guys make the biggest difference. Just knowing that there's so many people that are supporting you, people that are backing you, they're in your corner. So definitely, I think things like these interviews when we're out doing our charity work, the way that you guys share the work that we're doing, I think it also inspires other people to see that pageants are, it breaks that misconception about pageants and it shows that we are doing so much more than just stepping on a stage and looking beautiful, and that it's not just about that one night. It's an entire journey, and so I think that's where pageant pages and bloggers play a very big role, showing the entire journey and inspiring so many women out there. So just keep supporting us, reposting, resharing, because yeah, it is a world of social media right now, and so it really helps to have that social support.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So
And
thank you.
everyone,
Yes, thank you for this.
of course, everyone watching us, please go ahead and support Ndavi on social media, on her platforms. Help her spread her message, her advocacy.
Mm.
And, we're here just to support you girls, sending love.
Aw, I feel the love. I feel the love.
Yes. So may I ask you just to get your personal perspective on this? So of course, it was announced recently that the Miss Universe organization precisely was extending the eligibility criteria. I feel like this is a positive step in the right direction to give
Yeah.
opportunities to more women to have access to this platform. What do you
Mm.
think about the change? What is your opinion on it?
I love it. I agree with you. I think this is a great step towards, true change. Because if we're going to talk about using the platform for women empowerment, then it should be about empowering all women and not excluding any group of women. So I think it's very important for inclusivity. And if we look at South Africa, before 1993, Black women weren't allowed to enter. But it's because of women who said yes to change, women who said, let's include everybody, that today I can sit here as a Black woman and say I am Miss South Africa. So I'm so grateful for the women and the people in leadership who say yes to change, even though sometimes it's uncomfortable. We might not know exactly how things can be implemented, but the fact that we already want to do that just shows how far we've come. So I'm excited to see how it will be put into place.
I love that. Thank you. You gave me the chills. You're that good.
Oh!
Isn't she amazing, guys? I love it. So, Ndavi, I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you're busy. I know it's a hectic schedule. So, I'm going to wrap it up here. But
Oh.
before I let you go, I just want to ask you something that if I don't ask this, the passion fans are going to just, kill me.
Ooh, now I'm scared.
So, I guess that the upcoming competition, like the closest one that you will have, it will be Miss Universe. So, usually the question would be, why should you be crowned as the new Miss Universe? But I will tweak it a little bit since you have a few responsibilities, and I would say, why should you be crowned as an international title holder?
Wow. So that is such a good question. And I'm literally just like, I've never thought about how I could properly articulate this, but I think it would definitely go back to home. I think a lot of the times we think that because we come from different countries, we're facing different issues. But if we look at it closely, we can look close to the issues that women are facing, very similar. We can look at things like period poverty, whether you're in South Africa or whether you're in Canada or the Philippines. Every woman still has that kind of challenge, and I think that if we can all just work together, we can really bridge that gap and ensure that everybody is able to have the necessary things that they need. And so I think for me personally, it's because I have an awareness of understanding that as much as we come from different places, we are still so much more alike. So yeah, definitely, I think that just knowing that although we are different, we are more the same.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. It was such a pleasure having you here. love your
Thank
energy.
you. I feel like
Love
that went
your
by so quickly.
vibe. I know, right? Time flies.
Yeah, when you're having fun.
Of course. My overall message for you, Ndavi, please just enjoy, what is yet to come, the different pageants, the experiences. I hope that, as you mentioned, I hope that you don't have to go to all three. I hope that from the beginning or the second try, you just get it, because I just know that you have the potential. You have what it takes. And as I said, just
Aw.
enjoy the process, have fun, and we're here to send you love and support, and you got this.
Thank you so much, Lewis. I really appreciate all your love, all your support. You are literally so incredible. You're so amazing. So thank you for
Thank,
the time that you set out for us today. I had so much fun. And yeah, I hope to do this soon again.
Thank you so much. And for our viewers, thank you as well, guys, for joining and staying with us until the end. Don't forget to support Navi. And I'll see you guys soon with more content. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.